Hey, y'all, Jeremy James here, the Bourbon Realtor, back after a hiatus with Barstools Bourbon. Got good friend of the show and fellow executive bourbon steward, although he scored 2 points lower than me on the test, Ralph Burgess. Say hi, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
All right, y'all. I know it's been a freaking hot minute since we've shared anything. Basically, I'll tell you the story of what happened. I got the Rona, and we don't say the C word because that pops certain triggers and everything else. Caught the Rona about midway through September. Laid me out for about 2.5, 3 weeks, and had double pneumonia, the whole thing. Not going to go into vaccines and all that kind of good stuff because we don't need that fight and everything else. Do what your conscience leads you to do or what the law says. Anyway, so after that, after I finally got back up and going and got out, started thinking about doing some bourbon reviews, getting back into it, and realized that my schnoz was unemployed.
Isn't what it used to be.
Man, how frustrating. And here's the thing. We debated whether or not to even talk about it, but we can't be the only ones. I can't be the only bourbon drinker out there who has had a lot of their senses either wrecked or changed because of the Rona. And the more I've been reading, the more I see that folks, if it hasn't been completely wiped out, it's partial or things have been changed. I know with me, I was never completely wiped out, but I really notice it in certain areas where it's really, really diminished. There's a lot of discussion about what's actually going on, and they think it's the cells that surround your neurons and all that kind of stuff that get chewed up, and it takes time for them to regenerate. So hopefully, a lot of us who have had it will have these things start to come back. But have you had anybody that's had their sinuses or smell wrecked?
Nobody that I know of personally, no.
Except for me.
Except for you?
Yeah, except for me.
There's always one in a bunch.
Yeah, well, Andy too, my wife.
Yes.
She had hers as well.
I've been fortunate.
Yeah,
so I've been fortunate.
The interesting thing is with mine, it's certain smells I have much stronger than others. And it's really bizarre that I can smell certain things really well and other things not at all. And one of the ways that I was able to really focus on where my gaps were was we had just finished the executive bourbon steward course weeks before. I mean, mere weeks before. And through the Stave and Thief Society, but when you pass your executive bourbon steward course, the Stave and Thief Society gives you one of these nosing kits. And these nosing kits are, well, nothing short of incredible.
They're fantastic.
I think if you bought them just straight out, it's like $250.
Yes.
Because these are different oils and everything. They actually eat with like acetones and stuff like that. They actually pulled the actual chemicals.
Right.
For some of the other scents, can't call them flavors, I guess, because you're not drinking them.
Right.
For some of the other scents, they actually went with what was it, like a food service company, scientist or whatever, and crafted these in such a way that it would resemble certain items. And there are literally 36 of these in here, going all the way from your acetate, I don't know, acid dehyde, I don't know, whatever it is. Acetone, methanol, ethyl acetate, ethyl alcohol, all those things, those top-end alcohols, your heads, your hearts, and your tails. And then you get into the properties, the ones that we associate with either smells or foods or whatever else. And there's a lot of those. When I knew I was in trouble with my nose is when I pulled out the acetone, which is nail polish remover. I have a little bit right here on this side. I'm deep breathing acetone and I'm getting next to nothing. I mean, it is so...
I get it on the right side.
It is...
The left side, not so much. I smell it, but...
It is right so light on my nose, it's not even funny. Let's see, and then there was the heads, hearts, and tails. 12 is the hearts. These should all be pungent.
Mm-hmm. Very pungent.
That one, I don't know. It's grainy, but it's so reduced. It's so minimal from anything that I had experienced before. I remember the first time I went through this kit, things like the acetone just blew me away.
See, now that one I was very right in my face.
Yeah.
I could smell the grains right up in my nose.
Here's the heads, of which this smells like cheap moonshine, and I only get it on this right side, and it's very, very light. See what I mean?
Yes.
Cheap moonshine.
Cheap moonshine, and I'm getting it on both sides. It's pretty pungent.
It's pungent, and
Yes.
literally I get hardly anything. So it's interesting, as I was going through these and just kind of seeing where I was at, I get a lot of the florals I'm catching really well, and the sweeter fruit notes. But one of the things that I miss is the whole basic area of the oaks and woods. That is a real hole in my nose right now. That sounds weird. Like 18. Now this oak is a different type of oak. It's almost like a fresh 2x4. And I'm getting it more on the right. So seems like my right nostril is actually a little stronger than my left right now.
Yeah,
But
I'm smelling the oak from the rick houses.
You getting the rick houses? See, for me, it's like 2x4.
No, I'm getting the rick houses in that.
But
Yeah.
so anyway, so that's how I went and actually was able to find where my gaps were and what I was able to smell. So I started doing a lot of research and to figure out what people can do. Because I know we can't be the only bourbon drinkers out there who are dealing with it. I know a couple bourbon TikTok folks that have dealt with it. I think you mentioned a bourbon YouTuber or podcaster had dealt with it as well.
Yeah, I think there was one, yeah.
And here's the thing, there might be a whole bunch of others that aren't even talking about it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of you who may not be doing podcasting or whatever, that are dealing with it as well. Trying to figure out what we can do to come back. And one of the things that I see, other than just simply time, that I see recommended over and over again, is basically a sensory training.
Mm-hmm.
So I use my Bourbon Steward nosing kit. Basically, it's a couple times a day. You just take them under your nose and you smell them. Some of the doctors are recommending like 4 major big scents, like lemon or something along those lines, something really powerful if you have that gap. And then think about those things as you're smelling to basically retrain your brain, retrain those receptors and those synapses to make those connections for you, so it's not just blank emptiness. So that's what I'm doing with my Bourbon Steward kit, and I'm also I just ordered an essential oils kit because it gives a whole lot of the other florals and stuff like that are out there. So yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge. It's literally why I haven't done a Whiskey Wednesday in 2 months, because I did not trust my nose enough. Oddly enough, my palate is fine.
Yeah, that's strange that you can taste but you can't smell. I mean,
my palate is still fine, but my nose is shot. So so anyway, we were really took a break, a hiatus from everything while we were trying to figure out what in the world we were going to do. Lahannah's still with us. I know there were some rumors and everything else going around. What was it? The rumors of my demise have been greatly overstated. And actually, we're going to be filming at Old Carter next week.
Absolutely.
And Lahannah's going to be back with us.
Exciting.
So we're excited for that, and going to be getting back into some of our interviews. But yeah, so Ralph, you've been in with these meetings a lot, talking about how we're gonna reboot. What were some of the things that we're looking to change up?
Well, I think looking to change up the overall picture of the show.
Yep.
Making it a different connotation as opposed to what everybody else is doing. We're going to try to find the new stuff.
Yep. But we're not going to race for the new stuff.
Race
you know what? We should pour.
Why not?
We should pour. as I cut you off. This, and we are, by the way, we're at Happy Hour Liquors here in Nicholasville shooting today.
Great place.
Phenomenal bourbon bar. As you can tell behind us, I see literally 4 bottles of Old Fitz. I see 2 expressions of Pappy and a Pappy and 2 Van Winkles, some B-Tacs, a whole bunch of
William Heaven Hill, we got
everything.
Parker's Heritage.
I mean, seriously, if you're a serious bourbon drinker and you don't or can't get one of these bottles, get down here and pour yourself one. They even have the Russell's Reserve 13 right there. So only place I know that still has it on the bar. Everybody else is gone.
And that's a contender for
Whiskey of the Year,
yes,
for sure.
Sir.
So I'm pouring me. This is Peerless Single Barrel. Don't tell Aaron. But this is actually the Justin's House of Bourbon barrel pick.
How nice.
This is a just shy of 5-year-old rye whiskey. And it is, in my opinion, the bourbon drinker's rye, in my opinion. So what are you drinking?
I'm bumming it today.
Benchmark.
I am bumming it.
Benchmark.
I
bring a $100 bottle of rye, and you dig something out of the trash.
Now wait a minute. This is one of Buffalo Trace's new expressions.
So it has to be good.
Well, it has to be.
It has to be. It's Buffalo Trace.
This is the small batch. Benchmark small batch.
What is that? 80, 75 proof? What is that? Oh, it is 90.
It's 90. 90. So we're gonna, and look at that screw top on there.
Screw
Isn't
top.
that
Hey,
beautiful?
you know what? I can't knock screw tops as much as I ever want to. Weller 12 still has screw top in a lot of areas where you find it. It still has a screw top, so I can't knock screw top. The rest of it, however.
And this stuff is hot. I mean,
A hot commodity.
Hot commodity.
A hot commodity. I don't know why. I
But-
mean, set that right out there so everybody can see, so nobody forgets.
Yeah, don't forget.
So nobody forgets you're
And
slumming it.
there's 5 of them.
Yeah, and apparently from all the reviews that I've read and seen, about the only 2 that are really worth even having are the top 2, right? The barrel proof, and the single barrel.
Single barrel and the bonded.
The bonded, right?
Yeah, are pretty decent, and also the foolproof. I would say those are your top 3: small batch and top floor. Top floor, I'm not real crazy about.
My God, this is so good, y'all. If you were even close to Justin's House of Bourbon here in Kentucky, Louisville, or Lexington, this was $99. The retail on the regular is like $93.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for an amazing, almost 5-year-old barrel pick whiskey, rye whiskey.
And I saw a single barrel at Total Wine just the other day for $105, and it does not have the notes that this one has.
This one is phenomenal, almost 5 years old, and that's ancient for a rye.
Oh, it is.
It really is.
It
Most
is.
of them are like 3.
Yes.
So with the reboot, got some other things coming up. We're gonna kind of formalize some of the stuff we have been doing, kind of haphazardly, because really over the last year we started through COVID, and we made up a lot of shit. Not like made up content, but we were making it up as we went.
Yeah, it was shooting from the hip.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, hey, let's do this. Hey, that's cool. Let's do that. That sounds cool. And then not going back to it or whatever else. So, yeah, so we're doing a lot of things with our reboot. We're going to Old Carter next week.
Right.
Going to be shooting out there. So we're going to continue with our distiller interviews and even some of our non-distilling producers, I guess is what that's called. Yeah. And interviewing them and seeing what's going on in that world. And so that's a lot of fun.
Continue to do some reviews along
Absolutely.
the way.
I think we've basically broken it down into 3 categories, right? Mm-hmm. So the first one is the distiller interviews and distillery tours.
Right.
And then we do the Whiskey Wednesdays.
Right.
As soon as we can get back to the point where that's usually something I do, but we can bring you all into it too. Do those Whiskey Wednesdays, bring that to you each and every Wednesday.
Right.
And then do what we call the product lineup reviews, which is what we would normally call like a full show.
Right.
Sit down, have 2 or 3 in front of us, and then we go through the lineup. That's basically how the show started, going through new riff stuff and wilderness trail stuff.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
really just kind of giving you a better idea about what a brand offers, rather than just one-offs.
And I think too also maybe the occasional blind or something like that, just to spice it up a little bit.
Yep.
just to see what our palates are telling us as to what we may think the product may be.
Yep. I would like, the double blinds. That's what I'm really excited about. I don't know, and I know this is going to break a lot of folks' heart. I don't know that I'm going to do another NCAA style tournament again.
That was pretty extensive.
64 bottles over 32 nights. That was, my wife by the end of that was glad it was over.
It was fun though. It was fun.
It was absolutely thrilling. We might do a modified version of it, but I will only do it if my nose is back rehabbed. If it's not, I'm not even going to bother. Well, it's one of the reasons why I'm going to hold on the Whiskey Wednesdays until I get back, at least figure out what's going on. The nice thing is that my palate is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some folks have had it wiped out completely.
That would be terrible. Not to be able to taste or smell.
I mean, it was like my wife. She said because her palate was gone. She never had much one anyways. I mean, she just doesn't eat food and drink like I do. And she said that her palate was almost completely wiped out. Like she could barely even taste. Stuff tastes like styrofoam to her, and that would have depressed me because I'm a full-grown boy, and I'm training for an event here. Apparently, there's a tribe in Africa where you train to be the fattest guy in the tribe, bro. What did they say at the end of that video? It's like, you're not fat, you just haven't found your tribe. I need to go find my people.
Yeah, well.
But yeah,
this isn't really that bad. Now I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have this every day.
Here's the thing. One thing I've learned is that when somebody says this isn't that bad, what they really mean is it's not that great.
Well, it's not going to be
because look at the color.
The color's beautiful on that.
It is, it's truly a mahogany.
Yeah. That is that
cherry red mahogany on a 5-year-old rye.
I got transparent.
Transparent. We're gonna. That's a new category. For appearance.
Transparent barrel.
It's vodka.
No, vodka sucks.
Vodka sucks. Minnick's going to charge us for that now.
Sorry, Fred.
He's going to charge us for that. We got a lot of stuff going on. Please bear with us. I know after the first year we're going to have our real reboot and things kind of formalized. Ralph's over here going to keep us all on schedule because Lahannah and I are basically like herding cats.
That's right.
My ADD mind just kind of bounces all over the place, and I'm making shit up and going along, and Ralph is the adult in the room.
The gray whiskers.
Yeah, the old man. Mm-hmm. Oh, and yeah, that's right. Over the Rona. Yeah. Over the Rona, you may notice I actually decided to let something grow on my face. It was because I was down for 3 weeks and didn't leave the house, and then I just decided to shave around where my mask was, and it ended up being with a goatee. So that's where the goatee came from, for those of you who were wondering.
When he grows up, he can have one of these?
It's so not going to happen. Somewhere along the line, this never came in. I don't know. I'm going to have to get testosterone injections in my cheek or something.
Some kids just don't get it.
Yep, something.
That's the way it goes.
All right, y'all. Again, welcome back to Barstools and Bourbon. Sorry we had to take an unanticipated hiatus. But we are back at it now. I'm healthy. Well, for the most part.
That's good.
Not dying.
No,
that's good.
No.
Because let me tell you.
He sounded terrible.
Oh, it was awful. I was like going to die. It was really bad.
I was hoping I wouldn't get it through the text messages.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad. Anyway, folks, Jeremy James, the Bourbon Realtor.
Ralph Burgess.
Executive
Bourbon Steward.
Hey, remind me, who did get higher on that test?
Well, if my phone would have just done what it was supposed to, I would have got them all right. But that's okay.
Isn't that what they talk about with senior citizens not being able to operate technology?
It's hard.
Yeah, those buttons and everything.
It's tough.
It must have been tough to take that test on that. What is it? That Nokia phone that you got?
It was a BlackBerry.
A BlackBerry, nice. All right, y'all. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.